Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Broyans Farm. We got a rain last night, very muggy out, but I bet that's really making stuff grow. First thing we're gonna start out with this morning is going to the berry field and picking around 75 to 100 quarts. Are you ready to go, Dace? Are you ready? Are you ready? Sammy and I just pulled into the field. When we started about 2 weeks ago picking berries for the first time, we were up on the upper like 4 or 5 rows. And not that there's not berries there no more, but there's just not quite as many and they're a little bit smaller. So we decided to come now into the lower 4 or 5 rows where they're just coming on. There's not a ton, I guess there's good clusters, but there's not a ton that's actually red. They're just kind of spotty here and there up the row. You might have to move a little more, but the berries are huge. And so that's kind of what we're going for today. Yesterday, me and Sammy were at market. I don't know if mom and dad picked it all, but the guys that we have helping us picked 180 quarts, which I think was a record for the day. We have about 20 left at the market, which is kind of nice to give us a little bit of a buffer this morning. That way we don't have to rush so much just to get these quarts out here or out there. But now, Sammy and I are gonna pick around 75 today. And if we have to pick more later on, we will. But it's kind of gonna be a rainier, kind of gloomy day. And we don't wanna pick a lot and have too many extra because we like to have them fresh every single day. Now the berries on this side are completely different. You can see how there's a ton of them. Some of them are kind of smaller. There is a bigger berry here and there. And that's just kind of why we grow all the different varieties that we do. It's nice to have those giant ones. Some people like those, but it's also nice not really to have smaller ones, but to have, you know, ones that are loaded. So they're not real picky if they're not quite as big as what the other ones are. And so I'm gonna start picking here, at least for the first 6. I'll see what I can get. I'm obviously not gonna put anything in that's real small, but these are pretty nice and red and I would hate to see them go to waste. It seems like throughout the week, we have a steady flow of customers all day, probably like, I would say 5 or 10 right in the morning, first thing. And then as the day goes on, we have a steady 3 to 4 cars all day long, sometimes 5 or 6. But then on the weekends, we'll have like 30 or 40 cars right in the morning and then about 10 or 15 throughout the entire day. And that's when we really get picked out. And today being Thursday only leaves us 2 more days, meaning that Saturday, as long as it's gonna be a nice day, which they are calling for, we're gonna be slammed again and hopefully get all these small berries and big berries picked off. Because like I always say, I hate seeing any berries go to waste. Sammy and I just rolled in with our first 6, making 12 obviously. I did end up moving over to her rows just because we want to get back and unload truck and I want to go a little bit faster than slower. These berries are just huge, and so I couldn't pass that up. I just found a couple giants. This guy, and then inside I found another big one. This one, it's beautiful. The stem's so thick I can barely get it off. Here comes Sammy. She's got 12. And I'm coming right behind her.
Oh yeah.
I'm at 8. So I just found something I've never seen before. Sammy's gonna come over and check it out too. It almost resembles a rhubarb stem. You can see how thick it is. It's almost like 6 or 7 stems in one. It's crazy. And then on top of that, you have one of the biggest clusters of berries that I've ever seen. Look at this, Sammy. Isn't that cool?
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Look at the berries on it.
Wow, that's really cool. Look at it, it's like so heavy that it's...
I know. Hopefully they all ripen okay. So I'm in the middle of picking And I just happened to look down the row and I see a berry catch my eye way down there. And so obviously I had to go to it because if I can see it from there, it's gotta be monstrous. And these berries are monstrous. And this is definitely the biggest berry I've picked all year. Obviously it's not the most pretty shaped berry, but look at that. I mean, I got pretty decent sized hands. And I would say something like this is a big berry. Like that's a big berry. And look at it compared to that guy. Sammy, your berry ain't no bigger than this one.
This one's pretty big. It's like the size of my palm.
Nope, this one's bigger.
Wow. Oh my God.
Told ya. Picks up Sammy's whole palm. Wait, hold on.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm coming into a patch where nobody's picked yet because I'm starting to see a lot here. Maybe I'll pass Sammy because she's moving a little bit slower. You just throw a berry at me?
I missed you.
So we just finished up. Like I said, 75, maybe could be one or two more, one or two less. But now we're gonna head out to the market and get these guys dropped off. After getting the berries unloaded at the farm market, Sammy and I came back here to the greenhouses to start unloading truck from the hometown farmers market yesterday. I'm starting to water as she's unloading. I noticed Dad pulled the 3 wagons over here of our plants that we're gonna be putting into the field, probably just because they need some fertilizer. You can see how they're kind of pale. And we've been watering them like crazy with all the dry weather we've been having without fertilizer. That's why they look the way they do. But it's really not an issue at all. And so actually, I gotta come over here. I got a little bit of fertilizer. I'm not fertilizing much in the greenhouses just because it really doesn't need it, besides the petunias, which I want to give an 18-6-18 so they don't start getting that discoloration in the leaves. You can see here how they're blooming really nice. This is a wave petunia, and then all these are just regular petunias. And I want to keep them as nice as possible so we can hopefully sell as many as possible. Between the petunias, the vinca, and the marigolds, that is the 3 things we have the most of yet that we're trying to push the hardest. Besides that, it's only a flat or 2 of this and that here and there. Sammy finished up unloading the truck. I finished up watering. Then she headed out to the farm market because we ran out of those strawberry surprises again in the slushy maker, and she wanted to start cleaning berries for that. Now I'm gonna head down in here to the high tunnel. I wanna check out if they need to be tied again and just take a look at them since I haven't been in here for at least a week now. Wow. Definitely growing, that's for sure. Ton of blossoms on there and a ton of tomatoes. Holy cow, it's only gonna be a week or so and we're gonna be picking in here. Well, green tomatoes, that is. We have not fertilized them yet. The only nutrients that we've given them is what we've put in the soil before even tilling. And you can see how good, obviously, that is working. But it won't be long, we're gonna start feeding them here just to keep them from getting those yellow bottoms on them and tops. Soon also gonna be time to get that shade cloth on because we've been having 80 to 90 degree days and it's just gonna soon be too much on these plants and the tomatoes as well. I would say each plant now is up to around 8 to 10 tomatoes, maybe even more than that. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah. It's hard to tell with the 2 plants being intertwined here, but like I said, tons and tons of tomatoes. Oh yeah, right here is definitely the biggest cluster so far. Really, they could be picked off and taken out if we wanted to right now. Some of the first ones are a little bit funky. You can see how it's got a lot of ribs on there. Normally they won't have that, but like I said, it's not uncommon for the first tomatoes. That's a very normal one right there. And if you've been following along, you'll know that we have another high tunnel down below my Grandma Pap's house, which is smaller, but basically the same exact thing. And I haven't actually been in there either, but just from riding past, feeding the cows and everything, I think they're about the exact same. Next thing we're gonna move into is bagging corn. I think the last time I bagged was with Sammy and Alyssa. And well, obviously we're out, so we're gonna do it again, but it's just gonna be me and Dad this time. So I'm gonna go get the scale and some bags. Dad should be down here in a couple minutes, and we'll get started. So it's the next day. I didn't get to actually show us bagging corn. We only got 30 bags done of the 70 that we normally do because a rainstorm popped up and we were just trying to get done as fast as possible. And then we only got done, like I said, 30, got them out to the market, and that's what we called it a day. But now today, it's Friday. We usually like to go to the Blue Ridge Flea Market in Saylorsburg on Sunday, but because it's supposed to be a little bit rainy, we decided to go on Saturday, which is gonna be our last day. And since today is Friday, that means today we're gonna be loading. Sammy's in here right now, getting started. I went through and watered both greenhouses. That way everything was good to go and it had a little bit of time to dry out. Pap's outside. I'm gonna go out in a couple minutes and show you what he's doing. He's working on transplanting our mid-season cabbage. He got 6 flats done. Obviously there's a lot more to do. And hopefully my Graham Hoffman is gonna be coming out later on and help him. Almost just about everything here is gonna be going besides the select few flats, and that's only because it's gonna be quadruples of what we're already taking. We're gonna be taking all the petunias, basically all the marigolds. We're not gonna be taking all of the flats of petunias and packs, but we are gonna be taking a good amount of them. Same with the flowering vinca, and just about everything in this corner is gonna go as well. Right here's Pap working on the actually cabbage at the moment. I don't know if you remember what the greenhouse looked like about a day or two ago in my videos, but this is what it looks like now. Almost all the geraniums are gone besides about 50 up in that upper corner. And the only other thing in here is our snapdragons, just for retail sales. It's such a good feeling seeing it empty out. We're just about done loading. Actually, I think we are officially done loading. And the truck isn't even completely full. I mean, it's very close. We've got about 4 spots down there. We've got a whole rack here. Once you move this stuff up onto that shelf, we have 1 or 2 spots up here. And then obviously we don't really have any hangers and we don't have any flats to fill the bottom. So like I said, that's it. And so this is what number 2 looks like. Basically nothing in here. And like I said, the only thing we did leave is stuff that we already have 4 or 5, if not 6 or 7 flats already on the truck of. And so we're gonna go through, just organize this a little bit, get stuff in nice rows. That way it makes it easy for watering. And then I think we're gonna move on to planting some eggplant today. We're gonna get the 420 here, get it hooked up to the planter. Sammy and Mom are up pulling plants. I just hit my head on that beam. Basically the only thing that this tractor is used for nowadays is planting, and that's because it goes the right speed we need it to, has the right wheel spacing, and I don't know, it's just what we've been using for forever. To get this tractor ready though, for the planter, you have to put this plate on this bar. That way it shoots the planter off to the side and lays it perfectly where we need it to in the row. So I gotta flip this drawbar. Very oily. The next step after getting the planter hooked up is getting it greased, especially if we've been planting a lot. You know, we like to do it quite often because obviously this is pretty old and we want to keep it in good working condition. And so older equipment usually has a ton, and actually newer, has a ton of grease fittings. So there's one on each wheel. There's another one up here at this pivot. There's a bunch in here where this operates and shoots the water out. You can see that there. We got one here. There's like 5 back here where all these gears are turning. And then there's obviously another one on each wheel. And so I'm gonna go through now, get them greased, and then we're ready to head to the field. We just got done with our first 2 rows. Went really well. Dad's figuring that we're gonna fill in about 7 altogether and hopefully have a drive road, but we'll see what happens at the end. We got the water tank with our fertilizer water and then garden hose attached to that, pumping it right into the tank using the generator because obviously we need power. And then we have all of our plants here in the back that Mom and Sammy got pulled. Wow, is that it?
Yeah.
You can lay it on top if you want.
While that's filling, I wanted to come over here and check out the red beets. Oh, here's the peppers that we got planted, I don't know, a couple days ago. They look pretty good. Not really doing anything yet. Sweet corn's really growing. It's almost knee-high, not quite there yet. We're thinking if the rain holds off, because it kind of looks a little bit stormy, we might move into cantaloupes as soon as we're done with the eggplant, but we'll see what happens. Wow, yeah, Dad was right. The red beets are coming up really nice. You can see them there. And it's funny because we barely had any rain. I guess that little bit we had the other night helped out a lot. Right there, it looks like you could tell I hit a rock right here, and then I had to move the bike up and start again. And they're gonna be thicker than that, I would assume, which they really don't need to be much thicker than that. But like I said, they're just coming out, so we'll see what happens with the next rainstorm.